What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we are working on our website for food tracking. The intent here is that, I've got food in the house and my tummy is very bad at regulating his own input, right? He has no fucking clue if he's hungry or not. In fact, it gets so bad that if I were to just listen to what he says, I would eat till I vomit every time, right? Because, some signals are just, not really working correctly, and he thinks that any feeling is hunger. It's kind of I can't distinguish the difference between I'm fucking starving and I'm about to vom. So the way to solve that problem for me is to know what have external information that allows me to figure out what my tummy is telling me. And so that's the purpose of this site. The purpose of this is I made pasta, right? And I made some pasta sauce, and the sauce had some cheese and some milk and some broccoli and whatever. And I need to know okay, what how much food is that? If I did I eat one day of food just now when I made pasta, or did I eat 1/4 of a day of food? I don't fucking know. And so we want to write that down so that we can understand later when my tummy's I'm hungry, please feed me, if he's a lying piece of shit or not, right? And so part of that is, writing down what each ingredient has, which we have, we've started. We have ingredients. Look, we've got an ingredient list. Wow. One of the ingredients, we go milk. It would be nice if there was any information about this milk in here. So the plan for today is to start adding fields that we can edit on this guy, right? Probably we start with serving size, right? Milk, he says on the back label, for 250 milliliters, I have this much calories and this much protein and this much fat. We gotta write that down. So if we get to the point where ingredients have kind of ratios of content to volume or content to mass, then we'll kind of be in a pretty good spot, I think. And so yeah, let's add serving info and then add the properties that are relevant. Let's get moving. All right. So I guess we can start at UI side. Let's do that. Yeah, ingredient.html. And we'll just be input type text. And I guess we'll do label for serving size. And I guess maybe then it shouldn't be text. This is going to be a number. Probably, right? Number? I shouldn't have stopped the web server, to be honest. Let's get another shell up so we can run it twice. How was last video's comment section? A lot better. Because I freaked out at him. Someone told me I'm not eating enough microplastics, which I thought was very funny. No real advice, though, which is, perfect. What I asked for. I don't want your fucking advice. Okay. So, I guess we probably need to say that this is a label that has serving size, right? And, we can type 100 in here. And the unit here is probably important, right? So we probably want a drop down. How do you do this? Combo box HTML. I don't remember. Select option. Yeah, okay. Select. And I guess we are just going to probably just put grams and milliliters for now, and then later we can kind of add more units if we need to, but let's do that. Okay, so we can do ID is unit, serving unit. I am serving unit. Shut the fuck up. And this is gonna be milliliters, I guess. Sure. So this is 250 milliliters. And then I guess do we want it so that every time I do anything, it sends something to the server? I guess that's probably fine. I don't really mind that. I would rather do that than have to hit a save button, I think. So let's do that. And I guess that means that probably to like reduce chatter, we'll probably want to support like really partial applications. So what we'll do here is we will put on the ingredient and we will say, I am changing this field, leave everything else the same. I don't know if that makes me a good little REST boy or not, but I honestly don't really care. We can do whatever we want for our application. So let's do modify ingredient is like a thing that we might want to do, right? And in here, we're going to be like, you could change its name, right? That's a thing you could change. And you could also change its unit, right? Mass and volume is kind of, it's stupid that this is what our unit is. I guess maybe we need a different name for this. Can we call unit like unit type? Because this is used for something else already. And then we'll create a new unit. And this is, I guess, stored in DB. So do not reorder stored. Maybe it's not stored in DB. It might not be. But we have like grams and milliliters. Sure. Because I think that actually the unit type. I don't know. Maybe we do just use mass and volume and say grams are one thing and volume is another thing. That's like maybe okay. Maybe. So that means that this is going to be like unit is unit type. Okay. And then we'll figure out what to do about that later. So this is going to be triggered by some put on a child. So we're like in the ingredients list. This guy is going to return put child in this case. So we're going to be like put child. And I guess here is where we are supposed to parse out the thing. So we're going to return modify ingredient. And I guess this is like modify ingredient params. I guess ID just kind of goes in here, actually. I think that just kind of fits nice. Modify ingredient params. Maybe it goes like this, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah. Something like this. So now we know the ID. So maybe it's like this. You know? And then we're like, modify ingredient. We got params here where we're parsing out the modify ingredient params. These guys all default to null. And then the ID is the ID that we got from the URI. Seems kind of fine. Okay, so now when we're like on ingredients, we have modify ingredient. So we're like, DB, you know, modify ingredient. Ingredient modifier, I guess, is probably actually what we want. Right? Because then we can do something like modifier dot I guess like ideally we want to change all of the parameters that have been modified with like one SQL call. So how does that work? It's like you kind of need to like generate the SQL string as you go, right? You're going to be like update, let's see, like SQLite update. Update this set blank equals blank, right? So we're basically going to be like appending to the set segment of this thing. Now we don't want to allow like user parameters directly into our SQL string because that's, you know, shitty SQL escaping or whatever. But I think it's not crazy to like have some like statement here where you say like modifier add param. So we go like you know, if params dot name. You know, it's like update name. And then what's the other thing in here? It's like unit. And then it's like modifier dot finish or something. Right, like that doesn't seem like a crazy API. And what this can do is it can basically like start by making the first half of this string. You know, like update this thing set, then do like quantity equals question mark 1. Or like name equals question mark 2. Unit equals question mark 2. Maybe unit with gram, ounce, liter, etc. helper to get unit type. Yeah, that doesn't I agree. But for now, I think we'll just only support mass and volume and then update it later. I think. Okay, so this shit, yeah, it doesn't seem crazy. Doesn't seem crazy. So that means we have like some sort of like ingredient modifier. And I assume that he is going to have some sort of allocator. I wonder how this SQLite statement prepare works. Like, do we need to pass him a fully formed contiguous thing? I don't know. SQLite 3, or what is it? SQLite 3 pair? Yeah. Compiling an SQL statement. What are our options here? The preferred method is to use these. First argument is this. Second argument is a statement to be compiled. So this is just like one fully formed UTF-8 string. Okay. So I guess it does have to be one contiguous slice. So probably we find an upper bound of the length if we were to modify everything, and then we allocate that up front, and then if we don't use it all, that's fine. Nobody gives a fuck. I think that's okay. So that means that this is going to be like a statement is going to be like a runtime bounded array of U8. SQL, I guess we'll call it. And you know, he's initialized with some allocator. Yup. And what do? We say like const max len is gonna be like 1,000 or something. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? And then we do like, you know, we make one of these. I guess we can do it like this. Return. No, we can't. So we make one of these guys. then we do this thing can fail because he's doing an allocation. We do append slice of update ingredients. Ingredients where ID is equal to 1. Uh-huh. I guess we probably do something like index mapping. Might be the way to do this. Or can we, like, if we just, like, have these guys as, like, if I just put 2 in here, is that valid? It might be. That might be valid. We might not need them to be contiguous. So we might have just, like, an index mapping. And if the thing is set, then we bind it. Yeah, sure. So you have, like, name. As a constant weight in here. And we have unit as, like, a 964. Or U8, probably? Maybe just as a unit. Uh-huh. And I guess we can actually create this all at the end, actually. So this might not actually have to live in here. We might just be like this. We initialize this thing. Boom. Yeah, it could be like this. So you might not even need an init. It could just be like this. Apply. Alloc. This might work. So we do our thing where we have like a maximum length. We say like, stud util. We have some sort of like U8 string. We initialize this guy with our allocator. We call this guy leaky because we make no attempt to free ever because we're lazy pieces of shit. And we do this. Var SQL is this. And then we append slice, like we said, of update ingredients where ID is equals this 1 unconditionally. Set. Then we say like if name self is not DB here. If we have a name, we append this, you know, name is equal to, I don't know. I guess if this thing was a writer, that's kind of nicer. Should we do that? Because then we could do like a writer, then we can do like writer print here, right? Oh wait, we don't have to do that. I'm a dumbass. This is fine. Because we're not injecting the name because that would be SQL injection. Ew, gross. Instead it's just like name equals 2. And then we do we have to compile the statement first. So here we ignore the name. Yes. If self unit, I just want to be like, okay, like unit is 3. Right? That sounds kind of good. Seems kind of reasonable so far. So we have 1, 2, 3. Buckle my knee. Shut the fuck up. Dude, buckle your shoe is crazy. 1, 2, buckle my shoe? How old is this fucking rhyme? 1, 2, buckle my shoe. Like, since when do shoes have buckles? I've never seen a shoe with a buckle in my life. Age. Wikipedia. Okay, so like when they still had buckles on their shoes. It's crazy that it's lived this long. That's wild. Okay, so then we've like modified the name and the unit, and I guess at the end we put a semicolon. Okay. I guess like this is fine. Then what? I don't know. I guess we call db.db and we start making a statement. So we're like, okay, let's try to prepare this guy with SQL items pointer and SQL items len. Then we have to like bind our shit, right? Yeah. So we do like bind I64 at index 1 as the ID. Then name, if name, we bind that shit. So we say index 2 is name. And if unit, we bind that as an integer at index 3. Int from enum. Okay. So then we've like bound all this stuff. We then try to step this thing and we're like, did it work correctly? And if it didn't, we get angry. And then now what? We return the new ingredient. So I guess we return db get ingredient of ID because we don't like we only modified some things, we need to get the rest. That seems reasonable. Okay. And then I guess since this is just a free function now, having like ingredient modifier doesn't really make sense as much as just having like modify ingredient. And this is gonna be like a, you know, this takes in self db like everything else, and we pass in like ID and params. So it's probably more like modify ingredient params, which already exists externally. So we can kind of just pass it like this. Yeah, that's looking pretty nice. Okay, then everywhere we're doing this self-dit name, this would be params name and params unit here. And I guess probably here as well. That feels pretty fucking good, dude. If it works. If it works. Okay. So now this is more like this. We say like modify ingredient with scratch allocator. who will clean himself up later. We got the ID and params. Yeah. And then this is the ingredient, and we respond back with that thing. Doesn't seem crazy. Now, we forgot a little bit that the unit field is not currently in this table. So I guess what we'll do is I'll just delete the old database. I have no database that I'm trying to like handle upgrades on. So let's just do this. Right? Seems reasonable to me. Seems reasonable. RMDBDB. Zig build. He's mad because 366 is like get ingredient expected an allocator. Okay. And then unable to stringify type info error set ingredient. Yeah. Because I probably just didn't write try when I did modify ingredient. Okay, so that compiles. I guess we should also make sure that get ingredient returns the unit now, right? So this is name unit from ingredients where ID is equal to 1, and then we have to extract the unit. So like this. Which means that the ingredient type here needs a unit as well. Okay, and then it to enum of unit type, or else return error invalid unit like this. And then I guess we probably just have to do the same thing on get ingredients as well. Which we should have a fix me that says duplicate, which we already have a fix me here, which is hype. But we still have to fix that fix me, and we haven't done it yet, so get fucked us. So this is SQLite 3 column int, and then here ID name unit from ingredients. 0, 1, 2 hype, and then 0, 1 hype. Okay, cool. Close. 311 is pissed at oh, catch maybe. Yeah, let's do that. And I guess the other one probably we need catch as well instead of or else. All right. Let's run it and see what happens. Oh, I'm running the server twice? That's not good. Okay. Local host 990 index HTML. Ingredients. Milk. Boom. And then we refresh. SQLite error when preparing the statement at 284. ID name unit from ingredients. Unit ID. Oops. Oopies. All right. Let's try that again. Okay. So milk now exists, and we can fetch this guy, and if we look at the response when we fetch him, we do get unit mass, which is pretty sick. And I guess we will just display mass and what's the other one? Volume here instead of grams and milliliters. Oh no, it's yeah. We'll just call grams mass and milliliters volume. That's fine. Um, what? Um, where the fuck are we gonna put the serving size? I guess we should just do that now at the same time. This should have like every ingredient has a serving size. It must. I don't think that has to go in a separate table. Integer not null. Okay. And that means our ingredient needs to have a serving size, where the fuck that is. Okay. Which means that modify ingredient needs a serving size. Okay. And then that means that when we are using this modify ingredient, we need to check for serving size. Here and here. Okay. Cool. And then on the getter, I guess we also need to be handling this thing. So I64, column 3, serving size is serving size, and that means that we have to ask for the serving size here. Okay, and it means we have to ask for the serving size here when we're asking for a singular. Which means serving size goes here. Serving size. I am serving size. Like this. Okay. That's like a maybe. I don't know, we'll see. Does that compile at least? No. I6, SQLite, it's column, it's probably like SQLite 3, column, int 64. Yeah, there we go. And then do we do this right? Bind int 64? Yeah, that's right. All right. Wrong window. We're already running this down here. Remove the DB, run it again. That means that we need to add milk again. Milk, add, refresh, add, refresh. Its add is not working correctly because unexpected statement behavior at 242. Because we need to insert, I guess, name. Do we need the unit ID? I guess like not null here seems important on both of these guys, to be honest. The unit ID should be specified, which means that on add ingredient, I think that we're just going to set some default here. Right? We can kind of do this, which should just make everything kind of work. I think. Fuck it. Okay. Add. Refresh. Go here. Okay, so now do we get a response from this guy that's like kind of sane? Serving size 0, unit mass. Okay, so now in like the web UI side, we need to we just like put those things in the UI and do something when they change. So I guess that means that like on off rip, maybe we like hide this by default until we get the response. Is this how you do this? I don't remember. you know, params. And you could do like visibility. Like, I can't remember visibility. Maybe it's like this. That sounds familiar. Nope. Visibility, HTML hide element. What's like the fucking hidden? So you're supposed to do? Nice. Okay, so we get this, and I guess we unhidden this later. Yeah. So we do like we already have the ingredient here, hype. So I guess it's probably fine actually. Let's just not even bother hiding it. Fuck it. If you can't see the title, you can't see anything. So we have serving size, document get element by ID of a thing. I don't remember what though. We have serving size and serving unit. Okay. And this is HTML select element. And this is HTML input element, I believe. Right? So it's like serving size value is equal to ingredient serving size. And here are, I guess we go like unit name to option index, right? It's probably something like this. And we probably do like serving unit, what is it, select? Selected index is unit name to option index. That seems kind of right. Seems reasonable. Seems reasonable. And so I guess we just like switch. Can you just switch on name in this language? Does it work like this? Case mass return 0. I don't know if you can do it this way in this language. We'll see. It doesn't like yell at me. So we need to make it so that when I modify these things, they actually do something. So on change. You might want a default case. Yeah, it's true. Throw. New. How do you JavaScript throw? Throw new error invalid unit name. Sure. Okay. Hello. Let's just make sure that I understand this language. So I go here and he says hello when it changes. Hello, hello, hello. And does he give me like the event too? Yeah, he does. So I can just look at like EV target value probably, right? Yep. Okay. And then we can go the other way. I actually kind of want selected index probably. Option index to name. Mass volume IDX. Perfect. EV target selected index. Let's see if that does what I want. Volume, mass, let's go, baby. We're fucking moving. Wow, JavaScript is so nice. Okay, well, let's not get crazy. Okay, chill. And here we'll be like, Modify ingredient with probably something like this. We're gonna be like unit is this. Okay, and then we just need like function modify ingredient. Okay. And I don't know what we're gonna do yet. I guess maybe we pass in like the index and the params, which means that here we probably pass in index here. I guess ID is better. So this comes from here. We have ID here. And then here we can modify ingredient with the ID. Bing, bang, boom. Just say it didn't take you writing 2,000 lines of Zig code to get async JavaScript or something. Shut the fuck up! Okay. So what's going on here? What's going on here? I mean, the browser is pretty fucking big. The browser's pretty big, so we're kind of, you know, comes from somewhere. The lines of code exist. They're just not in a place where we can see them. Okay, so here I guess we go like fetch ingredients. Plus ID. And then you fetch with like something. Dude, fetch put Mozilla. What? Method body. Body is JSON stringify the params. Wow. And then I guess we have like response here. And then ingredient is response JSON. And then we're gonna like be like update page with the ingredient. Uh-huh. And then this just gets a lot of this stuff. Just probably without like on change here. I guess it's kind of nice if we kind of like slap these guys out here so that they can just, we don't have to fucking get them every time. Simple. Yup. Then here, we just set up our handlers. It's kind of like this. And then here we go, like update page with ingredient. Seems kind of right. When you switch to WebAssembly instead of JS, probably when we're doing like significant work. Okay, so here he's mad because we can't parse this shit. Why not? Unexpected end of data. Oh, the response doesn't have JSON? So we probably like sent it to the server and he failed, so he didn't return some JSON, which is like maybe kind of reasonable. So this would be on our modify. He's fucking angry. Why? I guess we should look at the SQLite error string. On the prepare statement at 359. Okay. Can we stood debug print SQL statement? What we got going on here? What we got going on here? Update ingredients where ID is 1, set unit ID is 3. Cool. Semicolon. I actually don't really know if that's like, I guess that might mean that we can't have like discontiguous numbers. Let's like swap unit and name temporarily just to see if that changes anything. Okay, so here it does still seem to not like this on prepare. So this is before there's any binding going on. Which means that we probably just did the update statement wrong, right? I guess like update set where have to go in a specific order according to that flow chart. Okay, so let's go back to the way it was before, and we do update set where ID equals 1. Right? Alright. Let's see what that looks like. Refresh. Okay, so that seems to work. And now when I refresh, it stays, but I don't know if that's like giving me like a hard refresh or not. So can we look at the response here? So it's volume. Then we come here and we get mass. Volume. That's looking pretty good. That's looking pretty good. And we should be able to change the serving size now too, right? Let's run the server. Actually, run the server here. And go to here, and I guess we just say serving size on change, modify ingredient ID with serving size with EV target value. Right? Should be pretty easy. So now we're at like 100. And I don't really like this. I almost want this to be like on input. Yeah, there we go. So that it like applies immediately. So now serving size is 10, 100, 1,000. Boom, boom. Huge on blur. There's no fucking way, right? You're fucking with me? I can never tell with web dev if you guys have like found some weird shit that works the way you like. Like on blur triggers some amount of time after you have an input for a while. So it does like debouncing for you or some shit, or if you're just fucking with me. Yes, no fucking way. There's no way. There's no way. No way people are doing this. On blur event is used, often used. No, I don't. I don't believe that people do this. I'm just gonna do this and let it slam us. That's fine. Does this change when I do this too? Yeah, it does. Okay, yeah, I think it's fine. It's fine. I don't mind overdoing it a little bit. Okay. Serving info. Ready to go. Which means we can start doing properties. So I guess what do we want to do here? We don't have any like property editor right now, but having probably a drop down of available properties, which you then punch in the number for, is probably the play. Probably. So maybe we pre-populate the table of properties with some like sample ones that we might want. And then we add like a drop down here or something. that says like, maybe it says like add property, and you like punch in the number and then select from the drop down. And when you select from the drop down, it adds it to the thing up here, and then you can modify it or delete. Maybe. Doesn't seem crazy. Let's start there. So let's add some properties to the properties table. Where, oh fuck, what did I just do? Let's see this. Nix shell SQLite browser, and then we can just add some property. Give him a sec, he's thinking. So can I just like add in here? Is it insert into ingredient properties? Insert SQLite. I can't remember. Then you put the columns, name, unit ID, values, my property, unit 0. Play. Okay. Save. Okay. So now let's just start by double checking that when I run this, I can look at those properties. Ingredient properties. File not found. Okay. Let's ingredient properties. Oh, because we only support add. So we do need the list of properties here. So if we call ingredient properties get on base, we return get ingredient properties, which means that here we need to add get ingredient properties, which exists, which means that here we call get ingredient properties. And here, I guess we're going to say, DB, could you please get me the ingredient properties, and I'll shove those in a JSON blob in the response. Properties. And I assume that this is going to need to take in some sort of allocator. Okay. Get ingredient properties. And I think this returns a runtime segmented list of ingredient property. I think. I assume this is going to look very similar to get ingredients. Hello, get ingredient properties. Okay. So we're going to select, I guess, ID and name from ingredient properties. Thanks for showing me the beauty of fucked up not term GUI Sonic Eye. Let's go. Okay, this thing can fail. That's what he's bitching about. And we're gonna create a statement from this guy, ID name from ingredient properties. Okay, and then here's our ingredient properties return value, and he's like, 100 and 10,000 is like a reasonable range. Surely we'll always have less than 100. 10,000 is an insane number of properties that we could have. Then here we like step the statement. Here we're gonna pull out the ID and the name length. We don't need to look at units or serving sizes because those aren't relevant here. And then, oh, I guess unit does exist on ingredient property, huh? Which is a unit ID. Okay. If you say so. Okay. Then we just return the thing. Weirdly similar. In fact, so weirdly similar. This seems like weirdly duplicated with get ingredients. So, unsure what I want to do here, but seems like there's an opportunity to pull something out. We'll think about it later. It's not important at this second. So we should be able to run this now, and the ingredients thing should now give me an array of shit. Nice. So we have ID, my property. So now in the ingredient page, we should be able to create like a little drop down here that lets us add that thing. Yeah. So maybe we'll do ingredient.html. He's going to be like, he's going to have a select, and it's going to be like new property with no elements in him, right? And I guess he's going to have a default option of add new property that's always going to be selected. I don't know how you're supposed to do like this shit, but this works for me, right? I guess technically this should be owned by JavaScript. I think that makes more sense. So we're going to rename update page here with update page with ingredient. Right? Because now we're also going to have, you know, something like update page with ingredient properties. And I guess we'll just do this in parallel. Maybe not. Okay, let's do this. We'll do this. We'll do, we'll fetch the ingredient here. Response. So this gives us the ingredient. Then we have the properties promise, which just comes from ingredient properties. Just all of them. And then we do like const ingredient properties is equal to promise all of ingredient promise and properties promise promise. Okay. There. I think this works. Okay, and then we have this like add property. I don't know what we call this. New property. Okay. So here, this is going to turn into, let's think for a second. I think in the dropdown, I guess we want like the preview text to always say add new property, and then the dropdown to just show our options. I guess. So how does this work? We go like document create element of option, I guess, for property of properties. We like create an option and then we append that to the new property list. So we say like new property dot inner HTML is empty, and then we do like new property append child append maybe of option, and we say like option inner text is property name, right? Probably something like that. Let's just refresh the page and see what happens. This thing is fucking broken, of course. What I expect. Promise all is not iterable. Oh, wait. Okay. So we have my property in here, and like, can we add a second property just for shits and giggles? Ooh, he's broken. Whoa, what's going on here? Oh, whoa, that's a bug. The event loop is crashing because what the fuck is going on here? The event loop is trying to... He's got some handler index that he's trying to look at to remove it from the list of handlers. To remove is he's like, so some connections have got angry at me, and I'm trying to remove 1 and 2. Oh, the sort here is backwards. It should be 2 then 1. Should be 2 then 1. Event. We're supposed to remove from the back to the front, not the front to the back. Oh yeah. Oops. Oopies. I tried to switch from A is less than B to A is greater than B, but then I swapped B and A as well like a fucking dumbass. Oops. Okay, cool. That should fix it. I'm not really too concerned. Okay. So I would like for there to be 2 properties in this list. So that we can see them both, you know? Insert into ingredient properties, name, unit ID, values, other property, and this is going to be volume. Write changes, browse data, okay. And then here, if I refresh now, it's not running, that's true. There, okay. So we have these things. This should be kind of in its own section. So we kind of want this to be like, I don't know, label for new property, add property. So we're gonna do this. When we click this thing, we want the hover text. Oh, I guess we don't want the label actually. I just want the hover text to always say something. So can we do like select HTML select preview text? Can we like edit that? Oh, interesting. Placeholder label. Yeah, interesting. So maybe that's just not the way. Oh, we'll see. So that means that when we go into index.js, we're supposed to be like or ingredient.js, sorry. I guess here we say preview option is, you know, one of these guys. We set him selected, and disabled is also true, right? That's what they said. Selected disabled. And I guess we say new property dot append preview option. And we say that we have like select add a property like this. Maybe even hidden, right? Maybe. Refresh this thing. Inner text is not a function. True. Append is not a function. Append. Okay, so that's kind of what I was looking for, right? So I was looking for that, like, you have add a property, and then you click here, and then drop down, pick one. That flags something, and then, like, triggers the modification. Then this gets reset to add a property again. That's kind of what I was looking for. So let's do that. New property on change equals add property. And I have absolutely no idea what the fuck this is gonna do, to be honest. But it surely is going to need these things. Right? He's going to need the properties that we have available to us, the ID of the ingredient that we're trying to modify, and the selected index of the thing that changed. Surely. What do we say? We said ID properties selected property. So we're gonna look at like properties, selected property, right? And let's just console log that for now. -1 here. I forgot that note property 0 is the drop down text. So we get 1, we get 2 for the IDs. That's hype. And now what are we gonna do here to like modify properties on a thing? Like, what is like rest way to modify an array, you know? Rest like modify array. Like, do people okay, some guy on the internet says a thing. We don't really trust him, but let's see if he has a good idea. Like, I don't really like the idea that like update would need, you would need to like, if you want to like update the thing, you would need to like pass the whole array again, which seems like kind of fucking crazy. Right? You kind of want like append or something. What are our options here? Get, post, put, delete. Yeah, patch. Just use post, rest is dump pattern. True. But that's okay. So this guy's saying like I patch set. Okay, I mean I'm using put for that anyway, so like fuck that. I'm more like I guess like it seems like maybe I should have like ingredients, you know, 1, properties 1 or something. That doesn't seem crazy. I guess the other option here is that I could have like a giant properties table. I could have like a giant properties table that kind of goes like properties, maps, the ingredient ID to the property ID with the value, right? And so this thing is going to be like a row in a table. Is one key on an ingredient property object? I think I'm trying to say that like property, like calories, is an ingredient property. And so is like protein, right? And then on an ingredient, I'm trying to have like many properties, right? Calories 1,000, protein 8 or something, right? So what I feel like I want is like, if I have this table in the database that says, okay, so milk calories is 100. And then this guy has like a unique ID on the table. Then what I can do is in milk, he can say properties, and then he can just have in here ID, 1, and he can have like, he can just expose this shit like the way it is. Right? And then in here, I use this to look up, like this is redundant information in this context. But it means now that I can, when I like add properties to milk, then it will like return me a new thing that matches with the table that I can like use as a handle to modify directly. You know what I mean? I guess you don't even have to show. You could omit this if you wanted to. Probably. This seems overcomplicated, but I miss a lot of context. What am I missing that makes this overcomplicated? Milk needs a list of properties. The properties need the mapping of ingredient, and like there needs to be an SQL table somewhere that maps ingredient property value. This table guaranteed has to exist. Right? There's no way around this. And so I don't think, could be wrong here. I wouldn't put the IDs in there. I should have showed a big object. It just makes it easier, I think, for modifying. I think, right? Because like this way, I don't have to like, if this is a globally unique ID, it means that I don't have to map like, I don't have to do like milk property 1, right? I don't have to like handle that, which is like something that I would have to like actually track manually in the database if I wanted that, I think. Right, so I think this makes sense. This guy's got like a global property ID. And then maybe I'm allowed to do something like ingredients, milk ID, properties would return this list if I wanted it to. And then I can put on this list to add. What is properties? Like calorie count and stuff? Yeah. AKA chocolate chip cookies have milk as an ingredient, so why have milk in another part of the DB if you can just be like a serving of chocolate chip cookies has X amount of milk, which is X calories and whatever else. I think that that's fine. So there's like base ingredients and collections of base ingredients, which we haven't really figured out yet. We haven't really thought about like recipes at all. But you're right that recipes can depend on other recipes, which is fine. This is like a lower level than this. This is like, what is the calorie count of this ingredient per serving? Or what is the like amount of protein per serving? That just has to be stored somewhere. Because like not all things will have all fields. I think this is fine. I don't really see a reason why this is a problem. So I think I'm going to do it this way. So then when I want to modify a property, I will then modify this on maybe this URL is a little difficult. But at the very least, ingredient properties. Oof. What do we call this ID? Because we're already calling this ingredient properties, which is weird. Maybe we just rename that to property. Or to like, maybe property is like the wrong word. Attribute? Yeah, so maybe we have like attributes. Well, we'll call it properties. We'll have properties and ingredient properties. And then I guess here we can actually, instead of doing this, we can go like ingredient properties with a put. And on here, we put the mapping. Yes. So then we have like ingredient ID, milk ID, milk with the property that we're trying to add, which would be like calories with its value. I think this makes more sense. This feels good to me. And that's really all that matters. It doesn't have to feel good to you guys. It doesn't have to feel yeah. So we have properties. This is like calories, protein, etc. Do you really have to have a table for properties? Can't you just look it up based off same? I want to make sure that like between all ingredients, we're using a common set of possible properties so that you can say like give me calories from everybody without like a mistake of like misspelling or anything. You know what I mean? Like if I'm like, how many calories did I eat today based off all of these guys? Then I can just do it with like IDs, which is like easier. I think that having IDs for things is like better than using strings. Do you need that in your DB schema? Yes, because I need like a common way to reference something, right? Say I have like fat broken down into like saturated and non-saturated fat or something, but I didn't like categorize it that way initially. I just categorize it as like other or uncategorized. I think there's like something there where I might rename a field that kind of like affects everyone. That's like a thing that might happen. I think IDs for everything makes a lot of sense. I fucking hate using names for stuff. I think names are like a bad key. So this feels pretty decent to me. Let's do that. So let's go back to the existing thing. So this like table that we had before, ingredient properties, let's just call this properties. Maybe we'll regret this later. And I'm actually starting to think that the unit for everything is going to be grams. I actually think that that's very likely. That like, I guess calories are unknown, but I don't think that you're going to have protein as grams in some things and milliliters in another. I think that, and I don't think that you're ever going to have like milliliters of stuff. Maybe it's safer to keep this in for now. Okay, so then we're going to have ingredient properties. Is it a solid or a liquid? But I think that like they're like within milk, you're not gonna have like 1 milliliter of protein per thing, right? You're gonna have like some amount of like grams of protein dissolved in the liquid. So I'm not 100% sure there. Spoons. I mean, that's a volume. Spoon is a volume. But also, I'm saying that like the properties inside of a specific ingredient are never going to be in volume. I think I'll have to double check that. Okay. So this guy is going to be a mapping of ingredient ID, which is going to be integer, not null, and then there's like a way to say like foreign key constraints that says like this has to be in this other table. Foreign key here. Okay, so just ingredient ID, property ID. and then value. And then here, foreign key goes inside this thing. So we say foreign, is it underscore or space? Key ingredient ID. This references the ingredients. Do I say ID like this? Okay. That seems kind of reasonable. And then while we're here, we might as well pre-populate some of this stuff, right? Because we're gonna be deleting and adding the DB if we as we fuck this up. So we might as well just do this now. Right, so what are the things that we want to pre-jack into this guy? Maybe this primary key should be both foreign keys exposed. Is that a thing you can do? I assume that like the ID had a row. I mean, it's easier this way if we can to allow us to like modify a property directly. Right, having like a composed key would make it hard to have like an ingredient properties URL. I guess it would let you do ingredient slash properties a little better. But fuck it. This seems okay. Because like in reality, like I assume that somewhere just having an integer for the thing makes sense. So like I think that a composed key just is like extra tracking for no reason when I don't really need it, I think. I could be wrong there. Insert into ingredients. ID, name, serving size, unit ID, values, 1, milk, 250, 1. Insert into properties, ID name, unit ID. We'll say some property and other property. This will be grams. It won't allow multiple of the same association. Oh yeah, you could do like unique. That's a good point though. Can you like unique composed key light? Is that like something you can do? Yeah, you can't just huck a unique on there at the end, right? So supposedly he's allowing me to do like unique ingredient ID property ID. That's the claim. That's the claim, but we'll see. Okay. And let's just see if this list all works. Expected 5 arguments? Yeah, that's true. So we should be passing in the DB here, and then null, null, null. Okay, arm DB, DB. Run it. So he doesn't like this because 493 is mad. Oopsies. What's like the actual error? 230? He doesn't like this one. Probably because this is duplicate. Let's just not have you self-promote yourself on here. Thank you. Okay, bye. Likely Banovator too. Let's get you the fuck out of here. Okay, so what does he like about this? Can we restrict this a little? Oh, maybe it's already in there. Okay, he actually seems to be okay now. So ingredients, we go to milk. And here he's angry for some fucking reason. Is my database fucked up? Browse data, ingredients, properties, SQL. Oh, it's because I renamed the fucking table. That's why. So ingredients, we're chilling. We have milk. We've got properties, and we've got ingredient properties, which has nothing now. Got it. So, ingredient property. We just have to like fix the names here, huh? Ingredient. Fuck. Add property. And then this needs to be like add property. Oh my god. We shouldn't have got the names wrong, baby. Add ingredient property. So this would be like add property. Boom, boom. And then the other guy should be like get property. Okay. And then I guess actually the ingredient properties. Okay. This should be get properties actually, like this. And then the URL should be properties like this. Zig build needs to be rmdbdb and this. Okay. So now we go back here. We have milk. We click here, but he's probably mad because ingredient properties doesn't exist anymore, which means we need to go into index.js and anywhere that says like ingredient properties here. Is now properties. Okay. Maybe? He's mad because I actually don't know what. Ingredients here, we go to milk. He's pissed probably because he's failing to find something. 404 not found properties. Am I fucking high? Oh, does that have to start with a slash here? No? The fuck? What's he complaining about then? Properties. Doesn't exist. What in the fuck then? Why the fuck not? It's right here. Properties. Oh, maybe I'm getting an SQLite error? I am. I see. My bad. So I renamed shit from properties. Thank you. Add property 2 should be like this. Okay, cool. That should be better. Boom. Okay, cool. Okay. Okay. So now we're back. Cool. We are so back, baby. We got milk. He's 250 milliliters, and we can add properties. Okay. But now we have this like ingredient properties table that we can modify. So in an ingredient, let's off rip here, insert into this guy, you know, that we have ingredient ID, property ID, and value. So let's put in off rip that, you know, ingredient 1 links to property 1 with value like 100. Okay? Who knows what this is right now, but it's like something. So it means that when we retrieve milk now, this guy should have properties like this. This thing is the wrong type. This should be property now. everywhere that this said ingredient property before should be property. But now we have ingredient property. And this just mirrors that table. So it's like ID, ingredient, ID, what was the other thing? Property ID and value. We just kind of huck these things in here. So now when we get an ingredient, we're gonna have to do something with that information. What are we gonna do? This is probably constant. Thinking. I think this all makes sense. Do we want this to be like included in like the get all ingredients? Probably not. This is only like relevant on like the ingredient page. So I wonder if this being like its own separate API, that's not like crazy. Not super crazy. Or when we do like the get ingredients call, we can just do properties is like this. Just empty it. Or even null here. And we can say just like omitted only relevant when asking one at a time or something. Oh, you're being an asshole, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I think that he's just over, like, maybe being a little overprotective, because I was bitching about people giving me unsolicited weight advice. I don't really care. This is not what it's about. Even though it says it is what it's about. So it's kind of my fault. It's kind of my fault. Okay. So when we get a singular ingredient now we need to, maybe we say that the properties here is like get ingredient properties, right? He's going to need some allocator for sure. And he's going to append these. He's gonna like, I don't know what he's gonna do. Probably with like this our ingredient ID. Okay. So it's like this. And I guess this guy's actually going to return like a runtime segmented list, because that's kind of like a nicer type to use with these leaky allocators, these linear allocators, I should say. And again, this is going to look very similar. Actually, so he's going to be like select everything. From the ingredient properties table. Probably where ingredient ID is equal to this. Okay, so we're gonna like bind that thing somewhere. We're gonna be like C check SQLite 3 bind int 64. And here we're gonna use the statement at index 1. Have you set the IDs index in SQL? No, I would, but you know, that's an option later. We can always like tack that on later without really that big of a deal. If it starts to slow down, it might be like totally fast enough the way it is. So I'm not really too concerned about it yet, but maybe. Okay, and then the value, which is ingredient ID. Okay. This should return ingredient property. And then here we should be able to go like properties equal to properties. Wow. So that means that this should be like one of these guys. Runtime segmented list, and then we start seeing how does this guy go. So ingredient property like this. No, our guess for how many things that this should have is probably a lot smaller, right? So we're probably on the range of like tens of properties. So like 20 is our initial guess in the happy path, and then like 1,000, 100, surely more than 100, no fucking way, right? So I think this is a pretty good guess. In which case, like 100's pretty small. Oh, I guess I don't really know how big these things are. Sure, that's fine. We'll do it this way. Okay, so what's he getting? He's getting... Oh, this should be a property ID. So it's 4 I-64s. Ingredient ID, property ID, and value. 0, 1, 2, 3. Ingredient ID is already in there. True. So we should just not fetch that one. I agree. And then this should just be as simple as property ID is property ID and value is value. Wowza. Wowza. Then we have to return ret, I guess, which we do. So now we have the properties here. We get them in here. And then everything else, I think, just kind of comes for free. Let's see. Refresh. Response here has a properties field, which has ID1, ingredient ID1, property ID1, value 100. That's really good. And I guess, can we add a second ingredient here and make sure that it behaves differently? So ASDF, SDF, refresh, we go here, we get that guy back. He has no properties in him, right? That's kind of sick. So we go back here, we go to milk, properties, one properties here. Cool. So we should be able to start tying this thing back now. We should be able to like list the properties in here. So can we go here, ingredient HTML. And I guess before new property, we're gonna have like a list of like key value pairs almost, right? So we're gonna have like, I guess this ID is properties. Ingredient properties, right? That's simple. Which we will add here to the list of our global ingredient properties is like this. Ingredient properties, and this is a thing of type HTML div element, okay? So I guess update page with ingredient is actually going to take in the property list as well now, because we need to be able to like extract names from this thing. So that kind of means, oh, I guess order doesn't really matter here. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at the ingredient properties. We're going to empty this thing. And I guess we're going to go like for each ingredient property of ingredient properties. We can say we're going to make like a new element. So this is going to be, I guess, like the like key value div, and each of, we're gonna say like this thing's gonna have a label, I guess, and then we're gonna build like label for, I guess maybe we don't need to. Label inner text is going to be ingredient, I guess it's like properties at ingredient property dot ID. Except I guess they're not guaranteed to be the same ID and index, which means that we need like get property. We kind of have to do this, right? I'm gonna go like for const property of properties if ID is equal to property ID, return property. Otherwise we didn't find it, right? So then we can call this like get const property is get property from properties and ingredient property ID. Yes. Yes. Cool. So we say label inner text is property dot name, and then we say key value div append label type. This is all making sense, and then the input is, you know, we make an input element. Input dot type is number, and I guess we just say key value div dot append input as well, and then we say that the ingredient properties append the key value div. Boom. Okay, all makes sense. Why not use inner HTML and build them all together instead of defining each child separately? Because I think that like text manipulation is worse than like APIs. So like being able to like properly interface with these things feels better to me. But I mean, maybe it's personal preference. I don't know. Like, let's be clear. I don't know how to fucking web dev, so I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. It's just this is like code that I could look at and be like, that's code I've seen before. This looks like code, not like huge string manipulations. It just seems like it's like less room for error, is how it feels to me. Okay. Refresh. He's mad. We're probably just not running the server right now. Arm. There we go. Okay. Okay, so we have some property on here now. The value should probably match the value, right? Which is not happening. Why not? Because this should be actually on ingredient property value, not the other way around. There we go, baby! We got our little 100 on there. Let's fucking go! And now to modify this thing, it should be pretty easy, right? I should be able to go like input on change. By the way, this would be a lot harder to do if I did like the index HTML. So here we're gonna do something like there are many things I've seen that could make this app in general more efficient, the code cleaner, and easier to read. But yeah, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with any of this. I think that if you can't read like a 40-line function that's doing like insert elements into tree, like, I don't know, this seems fine. Like, I think you're probably using some very subjective definition of clean, right? I don't really see any problem with any of this as long as it works. Well, I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but there's like, I think that there's like clear what's happening. But sure, you could do something else. There's other options. There are ways, but it's like, why would I like make a big text string of HTML, inject it, then pull the handler back out? It's like, I don't know. I'm like making nodes and I'm putting nodes in the tree. This is like a very like real representation of what those nodes are. Okay, so I guess we look at the value of this thing, and if I guess we need to like do a put on the properties field, probably. So I guess we probably want to do something that's like update. Maybe it's just as simple as doing this. Ingredient properties with the ID, right? And we're putting this thing. You're creating many different namespaces of consts that you could do in like 2, which will bring down load time and etc. I don't think that load time of anything that is done here will be noticeable. And it's crazy to me if this language is, if you're saying that having consts in multiple blocks is a disaster in this language fucking blows. And I was like, oh, I don't really care. um, like I wouldn't. I think it's very likely. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, I'm just maybe I don't under like what are you saying then when you say namespaces of consts? What do you mean? Okay. So body, we stringify something. What are we putting here? I guess the value is EV target value. Seems reasonable to me. Seems reasonable to me. Is this one of those like dumb shits though, where because I did this, like this const ingredient property is going to like change in each iteration of the loop, and it's gonna do that dumb shit where like this ID is not constant, so I have to like sometimes you have to do this shit, which is like fucking stupid. But I've seen this have to be done before. When you are building an application in like React that is in a production environment, this would be really bad. But you're giving like no reasons. You're just saying it's bad and not clean. Like, what do you mean? Give me like a real concrete problem. Cause like you said something about like creating namespaces, but I don't know what that means. But like maybe that's like a real problem. Sure. If you're saying like calling create element over and over again is like putting divs in like some like individually scoped thing, and those scopes like don't play nicely together versus like doing something else, sure. But like I don't really I think just being like it's bad and unclean is like you're not saying anything. You're just being like I don't like it. And I think that's like a bad way to like talk about code, because I've seen so many people talk about bad code and they just don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Or they're just like following what some blog said on the internet and they don't understand why. Right? And so like I just like don't really like accept that argument. You're saying that because I'm like, yeah, the only bad thing I see is not using create document fragment, but there are not too many ingredients is fine. Yeah, okay, so that makes I could see that. Like that seems pretty reasonable. Where you're probably saying that this thing creates one set of like nodes that I can like interact with together and then inject them in one chunk or something, right? I would believe that. So I'll do like a fix me to look into that. Sure. Create document fragment question mark. I'll come back. Okay. So this seems fine. I'm a little. Oh yeah. Okay. So I guess we're going to run this thing. And we will see if when I change the value, I get like a sane thing showing up in the network tab. Right? So like 105. So this made a request with value of 105 to ingredient properties 1. And then he gave the fuck up, which is reasonable because that's not like a thing that we handle right now. Which is easy to fix. Easy to fix. So wherever we are looking at REST APIs, one of the things that we will look at now is ingredient properties. PT root, thanks for the prime. Much appreciated. So if we have like most things, we won't count. I don't understand what is meant by const namespaces either. I agree with other guy. iJonky. For your amount of ingredients, there won't be a problem, but for background, why that is slow is because the browser running, each time you insert a new element to the browser will recalculate the layout of the elements and apply styles and shit to the GPU. I see. But like, none of this hits the DOM until the very end, which I thought dodged all of that, but I could see a world where I just misunderstood that. That would make sense. That would make sense. Okay, so if we're doing put on a child, we are doing modify ingredient property, I guess. He's going to have some child ID, so this is like this, and he is going to have to parse the JSON body probably, with modify ingredient property params. Okay, cool. Which is just value. This is the only thing, which is a little silly, but it is what it is. So then this is like, I think like this is what we've done before. Like this. Okay. Modify ingredient property doesn't exist, so we'll throw that in here. So we have the ID that we're editing and the params. And then we just have to do a thing where the DB changes that. Which I assume this will yell at me about. Modify ingredient property, ID, boom. Do we need to respond anything? Maybe not. Maybe we just respond empty, which isn't very restful of us. I'm no longer a good little rest boy, but I don't think we need to return it because there's not really anything of value being done there. Modify ingredient property with the ID and params.value. We'll do it this way. Look here. Modify ingredient property. He gets the ID and the value. Simple. This returns nothing. What DB are you using? Just SQLite. SQLite is just kind of sitting there doing his thing. So update ingredient properties. Where? What was it? Was it set first, then where, or where first, then set? Update SQLite. Non-code, switch to the raid. What's up, you guys? What is up? We are making a shitty little website that is basically a glorified spreadsheet, with the intent of basically being able to just write down what I eat, because I don't really trust my body to tell me if I'm hungry or not. It's like a fucking little lying bitch. And so the way to combat that for me is to be like, I have information. Information allows me to fight the idiot in my stomach, right? And so this is just like a way for me to do that. It's nice to be like, this thing has this much protein. I ate this much protein today. Wow, poggies. You could install a skimmer on your mouth to log what you eat. That's such a good joke. What a like niche specific joke, but that's pretty funny. Okay. What is it? It's where set first, then where. Where ID is equal to this, and I guess we're setting value to this. Wow. Crazy shit, dude. We create an SQL statement, we bind in the shit that we care about, which are going to be int 64s. At 1 is the ID, 2 is the value. Crazy shit, dude. Then we like run this shit. And I guess we're kind of chill. We finalize the statement, so there's no leakies and squeakies. That's what I always say. Shut the fuck up. And does this build? Might. No. Of course not. Yeah, this should be params here. We have the params ID and then params value. You love it when you see params. It means that you're doing things correctly. This thing does not return. True. Cannot remove DB. Sure. I don't give a fuck, dude. I don't give a fuck. All right. So milk, 100, 150. So he sent that thing. He sent 150. He got nothing back. And then when I refresh this guy, the property of ID1 has 150. That's pretty fucking sick. Pretty fucking sick. Okay, so I guess the last thing here is now we need to make it so that when I click this button, it like adds to here, right? So when I click other property, that should like create a thing in the fucking page. Styling will come later, by the way. Okay, so someone's gonna be like add ingredient property. And this is gonna be add ingredient property params. Right? And add ingredient. I guess this is actually just a fucking straight up property. No, because he has no ID. Sure. So we just copy paste this thing. Copy paste this guy to here. He looks very similar, but he has no ID because the ID is known later. Sure. So if we have put on the base guy, we return something that resembles this, add ingredient property with probably just this guy. But with the correct type. Boom. Huge. Easy peasy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And then now this guy's gonna be mad because he doesn't exist. So we have add ingredient property. Params. And I'm gonna respond empty for now, probably. And I guess we'll probably do like extract these parameters one by one. I guess it can just go in, fuck it. We can just be like, hit me with these params. Seems fine. Seems fine. Add ingredient property. He's got params here. And what are we gonna do? We're gonna like insert into ingredient properties. Enjoying the anthropomorphism? Well, because you got to get in their heads. You can't reason about what they're gonna do if you're not one of them, you know. But yeah, I've got that comment a few times. I forget that it's not how everybody talks about code, because it's just the way I've always done it. The way everyone I've worked with has always done it. Enter into this. We set which fields we are adding, and we set the values after. So what are we adding in here? It's like ingredient ID, property ID, value. And I guess here, I think we're just gonna skip value for now, to be honest. And we'll just hard code a 0 in there for now. And then we can do 1, 2 here. Oh, variable names aren't great enough. Oh, sorry. Sorry that my code doesn't make you happy enough. Do we have another insert example? So what do? We bind the shit, then we step the thing, and then we check the row ID and return it, but we're not actually returning anything. So we're kind of chill to just do it the dumb way. So I guess it's just exactly the same as this, to be honest. All of this is the same, just with different binds. Parameter 1 is the ingredient ID and then the property ID. Boom, boom, boom. We have a fix me somewhere to like deduplicate whatever's being duplicated here, but also fuck it. Chill? Seems chill. Inserted this, these things, with these values. Yeah, I think that's fine. So it should be, does this compile? Yes. That's kind of surprising. And I guess that means that we should just make it so that when we hit that add property button, this guy, it should do something. So wherever the fuck that is. Wherever the fuck we create that thing. It must be when we say update page with properties is probably where this thing belongs. And for each property, we say like option. I guess it's more like when the new property is changed, which we actually have here. Add property, and then we just didn't do anything. I forgot. This all started a while ago. So here, I guess it's literally just like fetch on ingredient properties with method put, and body is, I guess, whatever the fuck we said that the body should be, which I don't remember. I wasn't listening. Ingredient ID, property ID, so this is like this. I think it's just this, right? Ingredient ID and property ID. And then like we have to update ingredient. So like I guess we refetch that thing. I guess, yeah. So we do like a update page with ingredient with this updated ingredient, which means that we need to get the new ingredient. So here, I guess we just say like await fetch ingredients with ID. Seems kind of expected and reasonable, I think. So I click this. Nothing fucking happened. That's cool. Why not? Hard refresh. So I don't see any network happening, which is a little surprising. I would have thought that this is calling add property. Console log. He is logging. Oh. Yeah, I guess we do just suck balls. This should be ID. Now we have, this is a problem. Properties is undefined. Probably I just forgot to fucking. It's crazy that in this language you can just not pass parameters. Okay, so it looks like we did. Oh, object. We're dumbasses. JSON serialize, please, or stringify. This language is in JS, right? I don't really remember what I said, but probably. Okay, so now we call ingredient properties with this, and when we got this guy back, he still only has the one. Oh wait, no, that's sick. Look at that. So probably it didn't let me duplicate add because the unique constraints get in trouble, but otherwise that's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. So I guess also after this select on this thing, we have to put it back. New property on change. So we just kind of like add the property and then like discard it, right? We say like new property selected index. We just set that shit back to 0. Force it back to preview. So I click this now and it goes back. Nice. Alt F4, thanks for the raid. What's up, you guys? We are working on a food tracking spreadsheet, essentially glorified spreadsheet web app. So, the intent here is, I want to say, I had some milk today. How much food is that? How much food did I eat today? And, maybe this can also be kind of like a recipe tracker. Not that I really use recipes. I think I have this like stupid take where I think cooking with recipes doesn't count. It's just like, so recipes is strong, but maybe like, approximate amount, like meals we could call them. So at least I could say like, okay, I had eggies today with some bread and some spinach and shit. How much stuff was that? I want to look. That's the intent. And we're kind of in early stages. We have now just added the ability to link attributes of a thing back, right? So these would usually say like protein, calories, or something. And then I go in here and I type in 50 and I type in 1,000 or something, right? And then I come back here later. I go, wow, let's go look at my ingredients. And let's click on milk. Wow, the numbers are still there. Wow, look, this guy says 1,000, that guy says 50. Let's fucking go. Is it EAV in the database? Entity attribute value as columns? I don't know. I can show you my schema. I can't tell you what that means. It's like, so I have ingredients, which are like milk, right? So milk is like, hey, milk has 250 milliliters serving size, and his name is Milk. Then I have like properties is like, this is like calories, or like protein, or like fat, right? And then I have this table that links them together that says like, hey, I have this ingredient property for milk. Milk calories is 100 type shit. That's all we got right now. Anyways, we kind of hit like a natural stopping point just as you guys were rating, where we now, I think, if we remove this database, come back here, we have like some property pre-jacked, we come in here, we add another property, it shows up, we can modify this, and we can come back, and it shows up in the response now. I think that's pretty good. That's like a good natural stopping point and pretty good progress for the day, right? So what did we do today? We didn't have any of this stuff before, so we added this like concept of serving size and properties, linked them all together. Properties existed, but we added the way to like link them to ingredients, and we added like the world's worst UI to show them. So I think that was pretty good. We're close. I think that if I had a way to edit the properties, we're close to being able to like build up a database of ingredients. So maybe I'll try to like create a database that's like kind of sane, and then tomorrow maybe we can start working on like stitching together ingredients into meals and stuff. So apologies Alt F4 raiders, because we are immediately sending you guys on to someone else. But for the rest of you, thank you for watching. If you like what you saw, we stream most days at 12:30 Pacific time to 4 o'clock Pacific time. It is 4:20 now, so anywhere between 4 hours ago and now is when you should expect to see us live. Right now, we are taking a slight detour on our previous project to work on this, but we have been working on making an Xbox controller from scratch, right? So we will be back on this thing soon. We've got like a PCB almost ready to go. Firmware is starting to like shape up a little bit. Hardware is almost there, so if you want to see either of those projects, swing back by, this week and next week. There's a YouTube link in the description where feature development goes up. There's kind of like multiple segments to this stream typically. Often we do kind of like background work, testing, reading, things that like aren't really like YouTube friendly. If you want to see that stuff, it doesn't get posted to YouTube, but it does get posted to Patreon, YouTube members, and like saved in the Twitch VODs. So if you want to support the stream, which will die when I run out of money, if you want to like extend the lifetime of the stream by some amount and get access to all the VODs, those are the platforms you can do so. Otherwise, I think that's enough plugging. YouTube, peace out, and Twitch, let's find someone to raid.